Hey friends, welcome back to Boss Wizard Crypto. I'm making this video because I see a lot of really bad counts out there for the S&P 500. Okay, I'm seeing some really bad ones. You can go find them on your own. Okay, but I'm going to take you through my process. All right, and this is kind of also a precursor to the inside world of my Discord server as well, which you can see all the details of on bosswizardcrypto.com. Okay, but the big question, okay, we want to know, okay, and this is a naked chart, completely unlabeled, all right, and I'm going to start from the very beginning for you, okay, but people are all concerned about this move right here, this weekly candle, right, biggest one of the year, right, has to be bullish, right? Well, we're going to break it down and we're going to figure out what's the most probable thing going on, right? We'll talk about some alternatives, okay? But the first thing we need to do before you decide like what's going on here, okay, you need to get to the high, okay? You need to get to this point before you can figure out what's happening, all right? I'm going to show you how I go through charts, and you can do this on any time frame, all right? But this is a log. So first of all, we're in log, all right, just because it's easier to see the big moves, okay? So we have, I look for the major moves, all right? So this is something big, right? We can go out to the monthly view to see this better. This is how you start off finding out what's going on, okay? You look for things that are big. Is there anything on this chart that is even remotely the same size as this? Okay, and I would say that no. This is the biggest thing here. Okay, so that means that this is something big. So we're going to circle that, and which I just did, but we're going to come down and see what we got going on here. Okay, so then what I look for is anytime, so I want to find an impulse, right? But I look for any time, and we're going to do this several times, anytime you get a lower low, okay, on any degree. And anytime you get a lower low, it's either one of two things. It's either an extension or part of an extension, or the beginning of an extension, or it is an extension, extension component of an impulse, okay, or it's all one correction, okay. And the very first thing that pops out to me, okay, we're starting from here. You had this thrust down, all right, and then you had high, higher high, higher low, higher high, okay. Doesn't mean it's an impulse. Impulses could look a lot like zigzags, and zigzags can look like impulses, but you have that series, and then you come down, right? So at a minimum, you know this is something, okay? And now you come down here, and you have a low, a higher low, a lower low. Well, now this is something, but it also broke this low. And it did it in 3 waves. Okay, so one of two things is going on here. Either this is a zigzag or this is a diagonal, right? You don't know the answer to it yet, and you don't have to, because there's one thing that I see here that looks like a 3-wave move as well. Okay, and then that looks like a 3-wave move. Okay, so anything a 3-wave move and a 3-wave move and a 3-wave move and a 3-wave move, and there's just one thing that might be 3 or 5 in the middle, probably a 3-wave move. So then you could logically and reasonably say that you have this right here is all one move. And we call that a triangle, all right, a contracting triangle, all right, because you got 3, don't know if it's 3 or 5, could kind of go either way, right, but you got 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, okay, well, you can't have a 5 sitting there all by itself, so it's got to be 3, right, and if you dig down into a zigzag, or just what appears to be a single 5-wave move without any extension, you can turn that into a zigzag either. There's always a way. It's the same number of waves, right? You got this little nugget right here, right? You could easily say A, B, and then you have an extended C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3-wave move. Okay. You could also say it's a diagonal, right? But a diagonal doesn't fit if that's 3. Okay. So let's run on that premise now. You have now this as a move. Let's look bigger now. Is there anything on here that looks anywhere near as big as that going forward? All right, and the answer is no, nothing at all. All right. Now, this being a triangle, it tells us something. It's very telling because a triangle can only happen just prior to the final actionary wave of anything. Whether this is a B wave and then you get a C wave, or whether this is a wave 4 or you're getting a wave 5. Okay, and then what the book also tells us is that following a triangle, it will either be very rapid and brief, or a very long extended wave. Well, what do we have? A very long extended wave, and we just need to know if it's over or not yet. Okay, so that's when you come down and do all of the same things that I just said. So let's run on that assumption right now. Okay, we're going to start labeling A, B, C, D, E. Okay, now we need to know what degree this is. It doesn't particularly matter what degree you call it, okay, as long as you're coming down in degrees, okay? So this being a triangle, it has to be a 4th wave. Has to be, which means that this was the top of a 3. Okay, a second wave cannot be a triangle. All right, so somewhere out here in time, in this dark ages or whatever the heck it is, you got a 1, 2 somewhere, and then you came all the way up and you got a 3 to top in 1929, and then you got a 4 over here in 1949-ish, right? Is that 1949? Yeah. All right, and then your 5's somewhere out here. We don't know where it is yet. Okay, we're not going to place it yet because we don't know if this is done. Okay, and then when we get to this point, then we're going to take some possible guesses. All right, but I'm going to call this supercycle. Okay, because that's what I picked. All right, I could change it to anything I want to. Okay, I can make this super millennium if I want to. Okay, it doesn't matter as long as the next degree is lower. You're just showing a different degree, right? But I'm going to pick supercycle, all right? Which means that this is a degree lower, and we're going to say that that's cycle. Okay, now we need to figure out what's going on here. All right, we have a base because nothing on this chart is as big as this. So we're going to say that this is the end of something big, right? This is the end of a 3 that is big, and this is the end of a 4, has to be because it's a triangle, okay, that's big. So let's look at the immediate price action here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to circle things, okay, that look to be about the same size. And also remember I said about making a lower low, okay? So off of here, that looks to be significant. That looks to be significant. So we made a lower low here. So remember, this is either an extension or this is all a correction. It's one of those two things. Okay, so what we're going to do is we can't circle two of these because this low broke. So that's all something, right? We come up here, we got that, right? So that's all something, okay? Or that's all something, okay? So for now, this seems to be bigger than anything else leading up to it, right? This is bigger than like anything else that comes up to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that that's something, and then this is a top, all right? Just purely based on the fact that this is the biggest thing I see right here, all right? And then you want to count, okay? You're looking for 5, 9, 13. All of those things mean the same thing. 5, 9, and 13 are all an impulse. Okay, so just start counting. Do you get to 9 or 5, 9, or 13? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9. So that means that that is the end of something. Okay, well, I'm going to keep my circles on there. Now we just need to know how to label it. Okay, so why does 9 mean the same as 5? Well, I'm going to show you, okay? Because Elliott says that every impulse likely contains at least one extension, okay? We just need to figure out where that is. So we know that has to be a 1 of something, right? So 1, 2, I'm going to take a guess right now. We can remove the labels later, okay? So I'll always start assuming that the 3 is extended, and then we'll come work it out later. Okay, so then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can say 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we can assume that the third has extended. Now let's go ahead. Well, let's change this degree, right? Because we started with supercycle. Okay, so that means that all of this is going to be something, right? So that's going to be a 1. And then the biggest thing we've saw leading up to it is a 2, and then 3, 4, 5 to come. All right, so if this is supercycle, this has to be smaller, so that's cycle, and we're going to make it yellow just so it pops. Okay, and we have this, so if that was cycle, then this is primary. Okay, and I'm going to make that one orange just because I picked it. Okay, now let's get rid of these circles because we don't need them anymore. Now let's see if we're following the rules here. Okay, do we have 1, 2, and then this is all something, right? So it's either 3, 4, or this is an extension 3, 4. Okay, 5. So this seems to be kind of short. So this goes about 21.90. Okay, you see that right here, 21.90. That's how much price we've moved. Okay, so we would want this to be less than that, and it's bigger. So that cannot be your 3. But like I said, this could be all part of an extension. Okay, you got in here. Remember, just plain 5-wave moves. Okay, could look like zigzags, or they could just be tiny impulses. Okay, so inside of here, okay, you could either make this 3 waves, or you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. Right? Doesn't matter. It's either part of an extension or it's all one correction. Now this cannot be your 3 inside of this 3 because it's shorter. It's too short, right? And this is obviously bigger, right? If the 5 was smaller, then you could. So that means that now you have this as an extension, but then you want to make sure that your 4 doesn't come into your 1. Okay, you want to follow all the rules. So you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that goes one lower degree. Okay, and we're going to make that one blue, because why not? All right. And then you take a look. Does your 4 go into your 1? It does not. Okay, and now let's check the size. Okay, now remember, in log is going to give you, it's going to look bigger, but it might not necessarily be bigger. Okay, so that was about $26.82-ish. Okay, and do we clear that here? We get 33 bucks. We're good. So that is longer. Doesn't look like it because we're in log, but it is longer. All right. Your 4 does not go into your 1, and then you get your wave 5. 3 is not the shortest, and all rules are met. And now you have a third wave extension with a third wave extension. Okay. So in the end, you have your 5-wave move, and that's how 9 means 5. Okay. So your move is 1, 2, 3. Here's a flat. Remember, if you broke the low, it's all one move or it's an extension. 4, 5. Right? So there you go. You have a 1, 2. Right? This looks bigger than anything after it so far, right? And anything before it until you get to the higher degree. Everything looks kosher. Okay? Now we need to count stuff again. Okay, so let's place these. This is, remember, you got 1, 2, so you take a guess. Okay, you can go bigger here. This and this. Now this looks smaller, but there's nothing that is even remotely to the size of this until you get here, and that has to be all one move because the low broke, right? So too easy. You put your 4 there, you put your 3 at the top, and then 5 comes out here somewhere. All right. Now you want to make sure that you can break this one down. Okay. We're going to do the same thing all over again. Okay. So let's start circling things that appear to be about the same size. 1, low doesn't break. There's another one. Boom, low doesn't break. Maybe, but that seems a little bit smaller, so I'm going to go here. Yes. Yes. Okay. I mean, yeah, that's big. If we're going to do this one, then we're going to do this one. All right. That's all about the same size. Okay. And then you count. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. That's what we're looking for. All right. So we got, like I said, 5, 9, 13. That's what we're looking for. So we can take that all off because we found that we have what we need, and now we need to, and we don't have any lower lows or anything, right? So we don't have to worry about what is all one move here, right? Which gives us a little more flexibility. So then how do we label it, right? So I always start assuming a third wave extension, and then we'll adjust from there. So we can go 1, 2, and then I'll just assume the third wave extension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there you go. 5. Okay. All right. Now this was, what degree was this? Cycle. So that means that this is primary. And I'll make it orange just like the other one because why not? Okay. So let's see what we have here. 1, 2. Make sure that that subdivides, you know, just as looking at it. Okay, that's a 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. Probably put it here because you want something sideways, right? Boom. So that's going to come down to intermediate. I made my last one blue, so I'll make this one blue. Okay. Prefer the, you know, alternation is not a rule, but prefer it so you can make this sideways, right? By ending it here, then you get a little three-way sideways move. Okay, which would be alternate to this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's good. And then it looks like you got a second extension in your fifth, which you have to because we got 13, right? So that means you got 2 extensions. So then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Okay. And there you go. So now you have all of this going on, and you just want to make sure your third wave, it can't be the shortest, right? I mean, if your fifth is shorter, that's fine, but you're out of the woods if the third is already longer than the first, right? And very clearly is, but just to show you, because it looks like it could be the same size, but it's really not because we're in long, right? So you measure the first wave, and that's about $107, right? And then you can measure the third wave here, boom, and it's 1457. So yeah, that's way bigger. It's like 14 times or 11 times the size or whatever it is. It's plenty good. Okay, so there you go. You've come off of a big correction, which is a 4. Okay, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you want to know if the 5 is done or not, right? You've gotten this far. Oops. So let's do the same thing all over again, right? Let's take our brush and let's circle things that could be about the same size here, okay? So we got this little doggy, this little doggy, this little doggy. Remember what I said, we got lower lows and lower lows, okay? So this is either all something, right? It's either all something or this is something, this finishes it, and that's something bigger, right? So you could circle that then, okay? And then you could circle that, right? But first, before we get that far, this is the all-time high, right? So that's why I'm going to stop here. Okay, I'm not going to circle this yet because we need to figure out what's going on here, right? This is your all-time high. All right, so now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is not what you're looking for. Okay, 11 is not 5, 9, or 13. All right. So let's now then make the assumption that all of this is something. Okay, and we can go back and do the same thing twice. All right, because we're getting to the point where we don't know yet because we don't know if something is finished. Right, but now let's stop here and let's go and count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so now we can go ahead and label it. All right, and we're going to come back and do this again. Okay, so you can see where the alternate looks like. So you got 1, 2, right? And I always just start assuming a third wave extension. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we can get rid of those now. Boom, boom, boom. All right. And then, is that the right degree? That's not the right degree because we have super cycle. I'm sorry, cycle. So that has to be primary. All right. Did I get that degree right? This is cycle, which makes this all cycle. Right. That makes sense. Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then we'll make that intermediate. And we'll make this orange again just so it looks cool. Okay. So there you go. You could reasonably be done, right? We have, and then you could place these labels. 5, 5, which means all of this is something, right? Which is going to be grand supercycle above it. Okay, so if we go bigger, okay, if this was all something, okay, then that means from back in the Stone Ages until now is something, and then you're going to get something else, dot, 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 right? And we're going to make that, what color should we make it? Let's make it this lighter shade of blue. How about that? And that's going to be grand supercycle. Okay. Now what we don't know, all right, we don't know if this is, because we don't have the triangle like we do over here to tell us. We don't have it yet. Okay. So this is this already either happened before, way over here, okay, like so, and that's a 3, right? Okay, because 5 waves, 5 waves. 5 waves can be a 1, or it could be a 3, or it could be a 5, right? It could be any of those things. We don't know yet, right? I just happen to know on a reasonable level that it's most likely a 3 only because I've seen charts online and stuff that date back to like the Dark Ages, and you can kind of see already a big, 1, 2 like this, and then 5 waves up to here, right? So that's the only reason why I'm gonna put a 3 here. I don't actually know the answer, and I'll probably never know the answer. Maybe I will. I don't know. I don't know how big this is going to be, right? If this is a 4, then this could last so long, right? So let's just do a little fib time here, right? Just out of curiosity, right? If this was your smaller degree 4, right? And then you project it on this top, you would expect this one to be bigger than this one, okay, in time. And just to throw just a guess out there, somewhere between 1.618 and 2 times as big, right? Which would if this is a 4, would come somewhere in here, which is between 2053 and 2061. It could be bigger, right? But there's a reasonable area to stick it, right? And you're going to come slightly beyond the previous 4th wave degree, right? That's the guideline. What you did with this one, right? If this was a, you can't see all the price action before it, right? But you can kind of make a guess that this was some kind of sideways 4 here. So you did a 3, sideways 4 ended here, and then your A wave, your triangle went slightly beyond it, right? What is slightly? eye of the beholder, right? It could be, 583 on the S&P, or it can come down, to stinking 385 on the S&P, right? That's all slightly lower in the perception of this, right? So yeah, that's where we're headed with it. But yeah, I mean, there's your previous 4, right? Occasionally, sometimes you can go to this previous 4. That seems kind of excessive, right? Because how big of a drop is that, right? That would be, and you didn't get that with the other ones too, right? Your previous 4 on this one, could you have come down to this one, right? I guess, but you didn't. You come down to this previous 4, right? But I mean, yeah, I guess it is possible. That would be insane, though. Like how usually you're gonna come. I don't know where this started, right? You're looking for like the 382 of wave 3, right? And I don't know where that started. Okay. And we're not gonna know for a while. We don't even know if this is a 2. Okay. Doesn't matter. I'm putting the cart before the horse, but I just wanted to put that in perspective for you. And I'm just going to keep a 3 here. We don't know the answer to it, and it really doesn't matter yet. So we could just keep it well out of the way and come down, and we just need to worry about this part if these 5s are in the right spot, which by this count, it very well could be. Okay. Now, here's another clue we have that this count. Now we look for clues to see if this is correct, right? Because what I had mentioned before, right, is that this could be the end of something, and then now this is the biggest thing we see, right? So we could say 1, 2, same extended 3, 4, 5, okay, and that could be a 1, and that could be a 2. Right? And now you're just starting your 3. Right? So these 5s would be in the wrong spot, and this would be a 1 and a 2, and now we're off into the 3. Okay? But we have a couple clues. All right? But we got to come down to a smaller time frame to see it. So I'm going to come down to the daily. Okay? We want to look at now this wave specifically, and we want to see if we can make that an impulse. Because if this is a 5, right, it has to be, or it could be a diagonal, right? We have to make it 5 waves. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. Now let's start circling things that are about the same size. All right. So same thing we did this whole time leading up to now, right? And we're just specifically looking at this because this is the big question that we want to answer. Was this a 3-wave move and a 5, and that's a 2, right? Or is this all one move? Okay. We did the same thing over and over again leading up to this point, all right? So we'll circle the things that are about the same size, okay? And let's start counting. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not enough. You need 9. You need 5, 9, or 13, right? Or any multiple of 4 after that. Could 17, 21, right? Generally doesn't go that far, but that's why I'm looking for 5, 9, 13. Okay, 13 means that you have 2 extensions. Each impulse, by the way, as a rule, can only extend twice. Okay, but keep in mind that an impulse inside of an impulse also gets 2 extensions, up to 2 extensions. Okay, so circle those again, like that. If we want to stretch, maybe if we're getting crazy here, because this is significantly smaller than that and all of these, but this would make it 9, I think. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so that's what we're going to go with. And now let's see if we can make it fit the rules. Okay. All right, so you got to make this 5 somehow. This all has to be a 1 of some sort. Has to be, because you're starting the whole thing off, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can get an extent. You have to have an extension somewhere, right? So one has to include 2 of these circles. Well, if it includes 2 of those circles, you have to go like this. So you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there any way to get it another way? Let's see here. If we can get... I don't see another way. That would be it. That would be the only option here. All right, so let's get rid of those. Okay, now we see if this is legal or not, right? So 3 can, first thing that stands out is 3 cannot be the shortest wave. All right, very obviously shorter than the 1, but we'll go through the exercise. So that is $607-ish, right? And that is $298. So that's shorter, which means this has to be shorter than this. Which I've given that the full benefit of the doubt by putting in the 4 is like this little running flat. And it is $538, and that is not legal. 3 cannot be the shortest. Okay, unless it broke a rule, right? Which you'd have to be okay with saying that that broke a rule just to make it a 5. Okay. So in the end here, I'm going to have to say that no, that is not a motive wave. That is a zigzag, which means it's a 3-wave move, right? Whoops. Labeled ABC, so it'd be, or WXY, right? But A, B, C, D, E, triangle, boop, C. Right? Triangle in the middle. A, B, C, D, E. C. That is a zigzag. All right? And you cannot end something on a zigzag. All right? Which means that for certain, this is all one move. And that would be a triangle. Okay? Labeled expanding triangle. All right? Labeled A, B, C, D, D, E, expanding triangle, and 4s are allowed to be triangles, right? So I'll get rid of labeling for now, but that is correct then, right? Which means that this count is correct, and that this is a 5, okay? Now we need to know if this is placed correctly. Is this the 5th of the 5th of the 5th, right? So let's go back to the weekly. All right. This might be the first time I've done a naked chart like this. I'm not sure. All right, so let's give it the alternate count right now, because we don't know yet if that is where we now know for certain that this is where this 5 goes. Okay. Does this 5 go here? Right? And that's what we need to figure out. So if it doesn't, then this is what it looks like, right? Then that means that this is a 1. Okay? And that this is a 2, or it's not done yet, right? But for now, we'll say 2, okay? And you're going to pop up here this way, and that's where your 5 is going to be, right? And that's the question we need to answer. So we think about guidelines. Just looking at it on the weekly view, guidelines. Not we're going to get down into this stuff, into the nitty-gritty, okay? But guidelines. Okay? So this is now finished. So therefore, if this is a 2, then the guideline is that it should retrace to just beyond the previous 4th wave. All right? It didn't. We didn't get into the territory of the previous 4th wave yet, right? So that guideline is incomplete. Okay. Is it a rule? No. Does it have to do that? No. Okay. But going back on everything that we've looked at through this whole history, right? It meets the guideline every time, right? So we've topped something here. You can even see in these little ones, right? 3, 4. You come into this area, right? We got a 3, 4. This is the previous 4. We come into at least the territory of the previous 4th, right? Come back here. We got a 2. We come slightly beyond, okay, the previous 4th, okay, and into the territory of this 4th even, right? This bigger degree one, right? You come well past this 4th, right? And there's other 4ths down here that you're coming into, right? There's one right here, blah, blah, blah. If you break this down even further, right? Yeah, I don't, it doesn't even broach onto it yet. So I would say that from a guideline perspective, that's not done, okay? But is it a rule? No. Okay, so now let's dig a little bit deeper. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this for now. All right, and we still don't know for 100% if this is placed here. Okay, all we know now up to this point is that this count is in fact correct. Okay, and we got a reaction from that. So now let's dig deeper, and we're going to come down to the daily. So we can see the detail of this. All right, now can you make this 5? Okay, anytime you can make something legal 5, you should, and then let the market tell you it isn't. Okay, so let's circle it to say we're doing the same thing. Whoops. Well, when you get to smaller time frame, these labels kind of, right? But now we're going to do the same thing we've been doing this whole time. All right, let's circle the things that are the biggest. Now this looks like a series of zigzags, okay, but you have a something, something, something. So you got this, but this goes beyond it, right? So that's either all one correction, okay, or this is something and that's something, right? But you have a 3-wave move here that expands. All right, so I'm just going to tell you right now that this is something and this is something, okay? Because you can only end something in 3 waves if it's a double zigzag or a double 3, and double 3s don't expand like that, okay? It's against the rules. Double zigzags do. Double 3s do not. And that can't be a double zigzag because the low broke. Okay? So double zigzags follow the rules of zigzags. So it cannot be a double zigzag because you expanded down here. It's a break of the rules. So then it would have to be a double 3. And it's not that a double 3 can't break the low. Okay? A double 3 can't expand egregiously. The only type of flat that expands is either a running flat or a expanded flat. It's called an expanded flat. Okay, double 3 is a sideways move. It's not an expansive move. Okay, so And plus, double threes are very specific. You combine two simple patterns. Okay, you're combining a zigzag to a flat. Okay, a flat to a flat. A zigzag to a triangle, a flat to a triangle. Okay, that's the only things it could be. So if you're going to make this, something and call this all one move, okay, it has to be a flat, and that's a three-wave move, so it can't be a flat, right? Because this is a zigzag, so which means this has to be a flat, has to be by rule, has to be a flat, and it's not. Okay, so that's another zigzag. It's not a flat. Anyway, I went kind of deep into that. That's why I'm telling you that that this is something and that's something. Okay, so back to the exercise. We have a correction. Okay, that's definitely something. Okay, and then we bottomed. Okay, and then you have some like this could be maybe right here. Okay, it's definitely smaller than those two, but this and this appear to be the same size, right? Which means that likely this is internal to this move. That means that this is internal to this move, right? So let's count. We're looking for 5, 9, or 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have a legal way to make that 5. And the other reason I don't count this one is because this one broke it, right? So either this is all something, okay, and then we're back in the same boat, right? That's a three-wave move, right? And it's the same exact explanation as this, right? A flat has to end in 5 and not 3. Has to. Okay? And a double 3 can't expand. So it has to be something different. So therefore, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? This would be of one smaller degree than the orange one. So we're back to intermediate. All right, and I think I made those blue. All right. We'll go over the bearish alternative too, because there's one pattern in Elliott lore that can look like 5 waves like this, but be corrective. Okay. So I'll show you that in a moment. But I'm going to give this count right here benefit of the doubt because, what did I say before? We haven't even touched previous wave 4 territory. Okay. And if you want to say previous wave 4 territory here, okay, the guideline is slightly beyond the previous wave 4, right? So if you're going to say that's where you're going to hit your guideline, then you met it here. And then price should have took off. It kept going. Okay, this is not slightly beyond. This is egregiously beyond, and you're already in the wave 2 area, right? So we haven't even done that exercise with this one, but we didn't have to because we already had the benefit of this. Right? If this was, 3 years ago and we were counting up to here, we didn't know about this yet, we would have done that same exact exercise by circling the corrections to figure out if this 5 was done. You can do it on your own. I'm already 50 minutes into this video. You will find that this is a 5-wave move. Okay. So then we're looking for 3 back. It's way too easy. Wah, wah, wah. Right? There's only one correction in here. Or you only have one. Okay, you're looking for things that are similar size. You have one. That's it. Okay. Even if you wanted to say, well, you got that one and then you got that one, right? You're going to say it's not a 5-wave move. Okay, you can't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because the 3 is the shortest, right? You can obviously see it, but we'll go through. Okay, we'll go through the exercise. 600 bucks, 607 bucks. Okay. $419. So that's shorter than that one, right? And this is very obviously longer, $793. Okay. So that's this is not 5. Okay, it can't be, but it's 3. Okay, now can it turn into 5 later? Right? We don't know yet. That's what we need to figure out. All right, but for now, this is your supporting evidence that where did I put it? Where did I put it? Where is it? There it is. Whew, bring it back. Come back. This is your supporting evidence that that 5 goes there. Okay, because what starts with 5 ends with 5. All right, which means then by this count, that is 1 and that is 2, or AB, right? And then you're working your way down. Okay, like I said, the alternative here, we don't know yet. We need more price action to know A, B, C, right? So now let's look for a little bit more evidence. Okay, I'll leave the 1, 2, and AB labels off because we would have no way of knowing that yet, unless this is where this goes. Okay, so, but we don't know that yet. Now let's come down here. Okay, let's do the same thing. Right, circle the corrections. There's 1, there's 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5, 9, or 13. Okay, so it could be one of two things. You're either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now let's see if that's legal, right? Because 3 can't be the shortest. That's your number one rule that you're looking for, right? Is 3 the shortest? Okay, so that's $270-ish. All right. This is $323-ish. Okay, so that 3 is longer. You already know it doesn't matter how big the 5 is, it's longer. Okay. So that could be counted legally. Yes. Boom. Okay. What starts with 5 ends with 5, right? Which means that all of this that we started this video with, is this bullish, right? Then by that count, no, it's not. Okay, that means you're going to get some sort of 3-wave move like that. Okay, this high will hold, and this will turn. All right. There's one alternative way to look at this right now. All right, and that would be, we don't know the answer yet. We won't know until we get more price action. But that would be 1, 2, bunk, 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 somewhere down there. Okay. 1, 2, bunk, bunk, bunk. Okay, and then this high will hold. Right, we're pretty close to it. All right, it's kind of deep. And this, I'm not worried about price. I'm worried about time. Okay, what I don't is not a rule; it's a guideline. But you would think that the lower degree correction would take less time than the higher degree, right? So we can easily check on that by measuring that one and projecting it here. Okay, and I'm only interested in 1-to-1, right? And that gives until the 10th on Friday, right, for this to put in its final high, whatever this is. All right, if this goes longer, let's say, it starts turning in the next couple of days into next week and then comes up and breaks that high. Okay, obviously if this breaks, it's out. Okay, but if this high doesn't hold, okay, for instance, you come down like this, you break that 1-to-1, you don't even have to break the high, and you start to turn, I would say by guideline, that likely this count is incorrect and that this is just like some correction in the meantime before it pops up higher. Okay, so we're just waiting to see what happens by this time next week, right? We don't know yet. So this is an alternate version of that count. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 done, or it could be 1, 2, 1, 2, and that high would have to hold. If this high breaks, then this count is out, right? And you're back to this one, right? So there you go. There's that. Now let's look at the bullish alternative. Okay, so let's get rid of all these labels. All right. And how do you make this bullish? Okay, so first of all, we already determined that this is not 5. Okay, but can it turn into 5? The answer is that this already came down into this territory, right? Well, maybe it missed it by $1. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe it missed it by $1. So it's still legal. It could be 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So you would have to say most likely the force shouldn't come that deep, but it could. The rule's the rule, right? But I would say most likely you have 1, 2. Whoops. 1, 2. That will happen in the future. Okay, I mean, you could say 3, 4. Okay, you could say that. 5, right? Because it didn't break, all right? It didn't break. Came pretty damn close, though. Probability-wise, I would likely instead, if I was expecting a bullish thing, go 1, 2, right? But we have the same time constraint, right? Which means this would have to be done. Okay, this low cannot break for that to be valid. So either count, whether it's 1, 2, 1, 2 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. But let's look at the fib time again. So basically, you're coming from here. This is a guideline, and I'm projecting it here. Ooh boy, yeah, we're within it. Okay, so it has to be done, and it's legal, and it's meeting the guideline. Okay, so as much time as this took is as much time as this took, just about, and we're in it and we're fine. Okay, so that's all gravy. Okay, to be 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, which would mean, now let's talk about probability. Okay, there's only one thing that this can be, and that is if it's bullish, right? And that is a triple zigzag. Okay, that is the only thing that can be. Now let me tell you about triple zigzags. Okay, so the purpose of a combination pattern, okay, specifically the zigzag family, is to meet a guideline. All right, so you got your first zigzag, boop, and you didn't get to, in this case, would be the area, the price territory of the previous fourth wave. Okay, so that would be this one, right? Except you did, right? The guideline was met. You got to the previous fourth wave. So you don't need a triple zigzag. Okay, unless you're going to say, well, I need to get to this previous fourth wave. But if that's the case, then this is done. Right? Because this low can't break. If this is a 1, this low can't break. Okay, so the guideline in respect to this being, right, a first wave to keep going, right, is met already. You've already got to the area of the previous fourth wave. Okay, well, let's say, oh, okay, so I want to get to the fourth wave of even lesser degree before that. Okay, so then you're like, okay, right here. Well, you already got there, but you didn't get slightly past it. Okay, give me another zigzag. Boom, got past it. Why do you need another one? You have to ask yourself this question when you're talking about zigzag combinations. A zigzag combines to meet an objective of the market. The objective was met with one zigzag. Okay, but what about the other fourth wave? Okay, well, still met with the first one, but fine, give me another one to really drive the point home. Yeah, we made it. Whoop. Again? Why? You're in the second wave now. Right? Now, are those rules? No. Those are guidelines. Okay? Those are guidelines. We're talking about probability now. We're asking ourselves, why would the market do something like that? Well, we needed a deep retracement. So you gave us 50%? Like, if you needed something deep, then give me 61.8, 786, 50%. Took a triple zigzag to get 50%. Okay, so ask yourself the question, does it make sense to get a triple zigzag here? Does that make sense for the market? In my opinion, no. In my opinion, it's forced. You're forcing this count. Okay, it looks like absolute garbage. But that's the way to label it bullishly. Okay, there's still better counts sitting out here. Okay, which is why I don't like this one. I don't like it at all. Because if that's one instead, well, then we're just on our way to meet objectives, right? Let's go back to the weekly. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay, let's go back to the weekly. Okay. Can this be all one, right? And is that the correction for it? No. No way. Okay. Can this be A, B, C? Remember, this is not placed yet. We don't know. 1, 2. Come to the previous fourth degree. Zigzag. Ah, that looks a whole lot better. Now we're talking. Okay. Alternative. All right. We don't know yet. That this is placed. That is a 5. Well, then it's not AB. It's the same structure and count. It's 1, 2. Right? And you're going to get 3, 4, 5. Right? Multi-year fucking bull run. It will not. It's going to come right past the previous 4. Okay? And then you get 5 more down to come slightly past the previous fourth degree. Okay? That's your A, and that's your B, and that's your C. Right? But then, now I'm looking way into the future, okay? But then, let's go back in time. That was only the beginning, right? If we're getting a triangle, yes, you've met your objective, but that was only the beginning. Because why did I show you that fib time earlier that goes to, 2060 or whatever? Because if this is a triangle, right? A, B, C, D, E. It's going to take a really long time to finish, okay? And this high won't break for a really, really long time, okay? Now you could get a flat pattern, expanded flat, which this will then come up in 3 waves to expand and give you an all-time high, but it's just a trick, okay? It's just a trick because you're going to come back down in 5 waves, okay? I would not expect that to happen if we came this deep on the A wave, okay? Would not expect that to happen because just if I'm going to use an argument, I'm going to use it all on all ways, right? If you're going to get an expanded flat, okay, then you're not going to break this low with this zigzag, okay? Let me erase some of this garbage. Bunk, 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 da, 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 da. Oops. No, I don't want to rename it. Da, 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 da. Okay, that's enough. Okay. 3, 4, 5. Okay. A. Dun, 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 B. Dun, 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 dun. I know I drew it shorter, but whatever. Right? C. This is what I'm talking about. It should not break this low. If you're going to get an expanded flat, it should not break this low. Okay? Because the point of an expanded flat is to meet your guideline. So then you come up here in 3 waves, break the high, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's when you break that low. That would be an expanded flat. We won't know that for a long time, okay? Because if you come down like this and then break that low, right, that being the zigzag, then you can get the triangle or a regular flat. You'll come up in 3, you won't break this high, and then you'll come down in 5 ways. 3, 4, 5, go slightly beyond, maybe just a touch, and that would be A, B, C, regular flat that take a really long time. Okay. You got an expanded flat here. All right, at the lower degree, so I would not expect to get an expanded flat at the higher degree, the very next one, the very next higher degree. I would expect to either get a regular flat or a triangle. Okay, but then you have to take into consideration you got a triangle here, right? So probability-wise, if you're looking at true alternation between your biggest 4th wave corrections, okay, assuming that this is a 3 up top, right? I don't know the answer to that. That you would get a regular flat, okay, which you're going to start your regular flat off with a zigzag, okay, which means you're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and that is the first wave of your regular flat. You'll get another something, either a zigzag or a double zigzag or a triangle, right? You can come up, A, not break the high, B, C, D, E for your B wave, okay, if it needs to waste a lot of time, and then 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would be regular flat, okay? That's just a different variation of it, but I've talked long enough, okay? Most of you, if you stuck with me this long, then hopefully you've gotten some good tidbits on how to count this stuff and where the market's headed, and not just believing that something's going to the moon because you saw a weekly candle, okay? If you want to learn more about this stuff, if you got questions, if you really want to learn how to take charge of your own future, okay? Take charge of your financial money manager is probably wrong, okay? You are the one who could know when to enter and when to exit the market. You don't even have to day trade. Okay? If you just want to manage your long-term holdings and know when to be in and when to be out, all right? Learn. Come to my Discord. It's 25 bucks. Okay? Ask all the questions you want. Bounce ideas off of the community. Hey, this is what I see. What do you see? Right? Ask me. Ask someone else in there. Okay? I don't make any money off of it. Right? All of it gets dumped right back into the server to make it better for y'all. It's just a community. That's what it is. Yes, does it cost money to be in the community? Yeah, because the community upkeep is not free. All right? All of our charts and publications and so on and so forth are not free. All right? The website where we collate all of our knowledge that you can search through and it's all tagged on the website, that's not free. So it costs money to be a member. But it's a great community. If you're interested in doing this, try it out. All right, you get a free trial for a month. All right, bosswizardcrypto.com. Hit like, hit subscribe, comment down below, tell me what you think. Peace.